Welcome back to MrJayDM, and now that the 91 hatch is done and gone and the customer's really happy with it, he drove it about an hour and a half home and didn't have a single problem. Thank God. But my job was only to do the swap. You know, there was no guarantee. Well, he told me the engine was good, but you know, I did no engine work. So you know, once I did the swap and it was running, my job was done. So now that that car is done and gone, finally, we are going to work on the 88 wagon. I'm going to name this car the Nightmare Wagon because it really is a nightmare. It came to me, I mean, looking like a mess. There was no engine. There was tons of stuff missing. I mean, simple things like bolts to the factory traction bar were just missing. There was all kinds of stuff that was just gone. It is an RT, four-wheel drive, and all the rear end stuff is missing. So I had to get little axle caps, the threads, to lock in the rear wheels, or else they just would have fallen off because they were only being held on by the bearings. The fuel pump, I'm assuming is bad, so you can hear it, but only sometimes. So I think I'm gonna have to rewire the whole fuel pump, which sucks. The biggest thing is I was waiting on a 88 SI harness or an RT harness because it's completely different from the 89 and 9091. For whatever reason, the 88 harness is just, it's different. There's a lot of things that are different, and you know, I tried to make a harness from a 91 harness and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't fire. I couldn't get it to do nothing. So the owner finally found one, an 88 SI harness. So I plugged it in. It starts, but there's vacuum leaks like crazy. The manifold gasket is leaking. The throttle body I have doesn't really fit right. So I'm going to replace the whole intake manifold with a different one with a throttle body that will fit on it, and I've got new gaskets, so hopefully that'll eliminate all the vacuum leaks on the intake and the throttle body. But yeah, this wagon's been a nightmare. So I got these in the mail. The owner of this wagon, Patrick, had them mailed to me because this used to be a all-wheel drive Civic Wagon. The all-wheel drive parts have been robbed, so the only thing holding the rear wheels on are basically the hubs and the bearings. So you need these to put in there to hold the rear wheels onto the rear trailing arms. These came off of a first-gen CRV that is front-wheel drive only, because the rear trailing arms on all the first-gen CRVs are all-wheel drive trailing arms. I guess it makes sense. One thing I did notice while I was jacking up the car, you see that band right there? That's for the fuel tank. It's been cut. That's not good. As you can see, there's no axle in there, so all we have to do is stick this in there. Tighten that down and we should be good to go. And we are good. Now we can just put the wheel back on and get the other side done. I have done a lot of work. I painted the whole engine bay. I did a wire tuck on both sides, and the wiring that comes from the ECU, I shortened it. That way the harness will tuck up behind the intake manifold. But I mean, I've done a lot of work on this thing. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's paying off. I've got a new latch for it because this one's jacked up. The interior of this car is completely thrashed. I mean, it's done. There's no salvaging any of it. I mean, the door cards, yes, but the seats are just, they're done. And it's got these stupid fender mirrors. I don't get it. I'm not a fan of them. I offered to pull these off, weld up the holes, and put normal mirrors on here because I think he is going to paint this car. I mean, it's relatively in good shape, the body is. It has had some Bondo work that's kind of really crappy, but I mean, I don't think he's real worried about it. I think he's just gonna sand it down, smooth it, and then paint it. But I could be wrong. I believe that's what he said he was gonna do. But my job is just to get this thing running. I mean, we've thrown all kinds of new parts at it. Like I said, new fuel pump, new radiator, new distributor. The engine is from a 90 RT, and so it's supposed to be good. It was apparently pulled from a good running car. It still does have the RT four-wheel drive transmission. It just doesn't have the drive shaft or the rear differential. But as you can see, the engine bay was painted. I like it. It's pretty nice. But since I haven't worked on this car in quite a while, I just want to do an overview of what was done and what needs to be done in order to get this nightmare wagon out of my driveway. Because I'm ready for it to go away. I don't care where, just go away. But later this week, I will be working on my daughter's 2006 Honda Element. The starter went bad, and so, I mean, sometimes it starts, other times it just kind of gets stuck. You beat it with a hammer, it starts sometimes. So I'm going to be replacing that, and also the AC compressor, because it's been hot as f this summer and her AC and Element is not working. So I'm replacing goddamn AC. Talking about AC and the AC kicks on.